Marjorie Taylor Greene has officially announced her resignation from Congress beginning this January, and emotions are really high all across the board. Honestly, this is pretty depressing to hear. She was a bright light on the Republican side, along with Thomas Massie, among a sea of neoconservative warhawks, and it's definitely a win for people like Randy Fine and Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Green, a Georgia Republican, released a detailed statement Friday explaining her decision to resign effectively January 5th, right after reaching 5 years of service for her federal pension eligibility. So I'm glad, honestly, the AI generator put that in there because I'm hearing a lot from the pro-Israel crowd and those that really oppose Marjorie Taylor Greene, stating that she's deciding to resign now simply because she is finally eligible for her pension and she's going to dip. That's what I'm hearing. That's what, of course, the opposing side is saying. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm saying that's just of course, what they're spewing out right now. She pointed to frustrations with unpassed bills on border security, healthcare, and job protections from H-1B and outsourcing, while defending her record on gun rights, free speech, and opposing COVID mandates and foreign wars. The move follows a public clash with Donald Trump. So this is what Donald Trump said today, and honestly, it's just really it's upsetting to see. It's upsetting to hear. So just take a listen.
Backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history.
Are you willing to forgive Congresswoman Taylor Greene?
Forgive for what? No, I just disagreed with her philosophy. She started backing perhaps the worst Republican congressman in our history, stupid person named Massie, and I said, go your own way. And once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived a primary. But I think she's a nice person. Okay.
BS. I'm sorry. She would have killed it in the primary, even without Donald Trump's endorsement, simply because she's built up such a fan base of her own. But this is what Donald Trump said today. Marjorie Traitor Brown, because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement where she would have no chance of winning, has decided to call it, quote, quits. Her relationship with the worst Republican congressman in decades, Tom Massie of Kentucky, also known as Rand Paul Jr., because he votes against the Republican Party and really good legislation, did not help her. For some reason, primarily that I refused to return her never-ending barrage of phone calls, Marjorie went bad. Nevertheless, I will always appreciate Marjorie, and thanks for her service to our country, President Donald J. Trump. Dude, this is the thing. When Donald Trump was first elected, a lot of people liked him because of his rhetoric. He would just say things. He wasn't politically correct. People really appreciated it. And I could see the appeal then from his base and from a lot of his supporters. But now you have a lady that's been standing by your side since the beginning you took office. And even till now, she's still been standing by his side. And she even messaged him respectfully, just continuing to support him. So the fact that even regardless of how much she stood by his side and refused to and defended him, he'd still go after her like this. It's like, and instead of just simply going after her, the people that he's endorsing instead, that he calls good Republicans, because apparently Thomas Massie in his eyes is a bad Republican. Good Republicans are people like Lindsey Graham. You couldn't have a worse representation of a Republican than Lindsey Graham. Everything that you think of when you think of just a bloodthirsty warmonger is Lindsey Graham. These are the people he's endorsing. Randy Fine is being endorsed by Donald Trump. The fat ass from Florida that just salivates at the idea of blood spilling down the streets of Gaza. Those are direct quotes from his words. Blood, he wants to see more blood spill down the streets of Gaza. And you call that out and they call blood libel, even though he's saying it himself. Keep that in mind. So these are the people that Trump's endorsing now. But Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't, and Thomas Massie isn't. Keep in mind that when he first started running in his first term, President Trump kept talking about draining the swamp. And this is what I will say. I think that if you go into politics and when you start out, you might have good intentions, and very quickly, the more you stay in that space, the more you become the so-called swamp. The longer you stay in it, and the more you surround yourself in those spaces, the more you very quickly accustom to yourself to that setting. So even if you went in with really good intentions, you're going to change very quickly, and that's why I really think that Thomas Massie is such a bright light. The congressman he hates so much is such a bright light in American politics. A lot of people, I've been seeing this on X, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Let me see. I think it's called, let me know. Have you guys heard of the Liberty Score? It's basically, it just scores conservatives based on their voting track record. And and you can go through it and you can see people's, yeah, here it is. Let me go ahead and just share my tab here, because it's so interesting to see the people that Donald Trump says are bad Republicans, and then seeing the ones he says are good. So let's just start off with Marjorie Taylor Greene and where she's at. And so here she has an A+ by the GOP. So if you are a conservative Republican and you want to find somebody that genuinely represents what a conservative would be when it comes to conservative policy, here, let me get you guys the whole thing. If you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's Liberty Score, it's an A, and we can go through why it's an A. This is based on conservative politics again. So if you're left leaning, then it's not going to be the A for you. But if you're on the conservative side, it will be. And you'll see right here it says conservative liberal on this circle here, 0% liberal, 100% conservative, and it'll tell you exactly what she voted for, what the conservative position would be, and what her vote was. And every single time she's completely in alignment. If you're a conservative, then you would like somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene. End federal control of local schools, lame duck budget busting spending bill, just goes on and on and on. There's only, it says one misvote, conservative votes 23, liberal votes 0, misvotes 1 right here. So that's Marjorie Taylor Greene, the one that Trump is so upset with. Now, if you search up somebody like Thomas Massie, and Thomas Massie is just particularly one of my favorites. He has a 96%. Again, he has an A. Liberal 4.1%, conservative 95.9. He has 2 liberal votes, 47 conservative votes, 1 misvote, Liberty Score of 96. So that's an A+, basically. A 96 you would consider an A+. And now, if we look at somebody that Donald Trump says is a good Republican, let's take a look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is apparently one that Trump is endorsing this upcoming cycle. So let's check out this amazing Republican that is Lindsey Graham. So we're gonna go ahead and just type his name in here, and there he is, an F. The dude has a damn F. If you're a conservative and you are considering voting for Lindsey Graham, well, take a look at his Liberty Score, and it's not just going to give you a score. You can scroll through and you can see the date of the vote and the actual voting the bill that he voted on, and he has 27 liberal votes, 3 misvotes, 20 conservative votes. It's apparently, based on this Liberty Score, he has more liberal votes than he does conservative. Now, I've said it a lot on my channel before. I consider myself pretty independent, neither really on the left or the Democrats or the Republican side. When it comes to politics, I like to view things in that way. But I'm just saying, if you are a conservative and you're not me, well, then why don't you find a politician that aligns with conservative values? And now you start to question, okay, well, if this is a so-called conservative and Donald Trump it promotes himself as a conservative, then why is he being promoted while people that seem to have very high scores when it comes to their voting record on conservative policy are not being voted in? What's going on there? So I am curious to see where he did not really vote along with the party. So advanced gun control legislation closer to passage without reading the bill. Fund the war in Ukraine through the end of Joe Biden's first term with a $40 billion aid package. Interesting. The conservative position would clearly be no. However, Lindsey Graham voted yes on it. Now, I've heard Republicans and conservatives say over and over, and this is a stand that I take very deeply as well, that why the hell are we spending money on foreign wars? Absolutely not. Just absolutely not. Especially right now with damn $38 trillion debt, no more foreign wars, no more spending. We need to take care of this country. So why the hell is this dude going ahead and voting for that? Well, that's kind of odd. Let's see another one. Spend $300 billion on corporate welfare for chip manufacturers and politically connected groups. Conservative position, no. The guy, of course, voted in support of that. And let's say here, block funding for earmark in the 1.5 trillion omnibus. I keep mispronouncing that word. Bill, again, he voted no. Let's see what other legislation is just absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Bail out the post office and sick Medicare with the bill. The CR position would be no. He voted in support of that. And it can go on and on and on. Well, this one is interesting. Fund Joe Biden's progressive agenda and federal vaccine mandates through February of 2022. This was a 2021 vote, and he voted in support of that. This is apparently the one that Donald Trump is endorsing. This is supposed to be an amazing conservative, but no. However, when you look at the voting record of politicians that Donald Trump isn't endorsing, they actually do align with conservative politics. And this is why it's so important to actually take the time to, F the media, set that aside. When you want to consider voting for a politician, a 30-second ad or how good they are yelling at people or coming up with hot takes is certainly not going to do it, especially if they're an established politician which have a voting record you can track. So track it. A lot of people rely on the New York Times and the Washington Post and New York and all of these MSM outlets to determine whether or not their politician is doing the right thing, versus simply the only thing you have as actual proof of if a politician is acting in your favor is not just the words they say, but how they vote. And clearly it's in this case, that's just not the case. But because so many people actually don't take the time to look at these bills and see how they're voting, they're just going to listen to President Trump. If, they're a Republican and they're really just focused on identity politics and watching whatever Fox News, and this is all they're hearing, then, well, if President Trump is endorsing Lindsey Graham, then Lindsey Graham must be the right vote. Even though, if you look at his voting record and you compare that to what aligns with you, you have no reason whatsoever to vote for these sort of individuals. Same thing with Randy Fine, another staunch neocon, just somebody that wants foreign war after foreign war after foreign war for Israel. I keep saying Israel in my videos, and I know you guys keep calling me out on that. Israel. So this is kind of the dynamic. This is, I guess, the political landscape that we're in right now, and it's a huge loss that Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning. Huge loss, because who do you guys think is going to take her place? It's going to be another Randy Fine. It's going to be another Lindsey Graham. It's going to be another, Trump calls Thomas Massie a rhino, except the truth of the matter is when you look at their voting records, every politician that Donald Trump is currently endorsing is the real rhino if it comes to conservative values and how their record votes, or how their voting record is. So we're going to get somebody else like that in place. And of course, they're going to want to send $10 billion a year to Israel, and that's going to be the name of the game until God knows how long. I guess at least 20 years, because of this recent memorandum of understanding that Israel's trying to negotiate with the United States. Typically, it's 10 years. The last time Barack Obama did it in 2016, and it's expiring next year. So now they're going to do another memorandum of understanding, and that's basically what determines the aid we give to Israel yearly. And of course, the military budget and weapons and all of that, all those sort of things. And we've been paying Israel, what is it? Is it $3 billion a year? And now annually. Now, what's that number going to be in this upcoming memorandum of understanding? It's going to be 20 years long. Usually 10, but they want to extend it as far as possible because they know they're losing support among the younger generation, and they're losing support among politicians. So they don't want to lose support so quickly. Now, Israeli politicians know that they're losing support as well. So Israel's actually trying to become independent in as long of time it has possible. So it's trying to reach military independence, but something like that takes a very, very long time, which is why it needs at least 20 years to try to do that. After it hopes the United States has bombed the entire Middle East and wiped out Iran, and there's no more real threat to Israel's existence, and it has all the weapons and all the bombs that it needs. So that's kind of where we're at. And Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning is a really big loss because it only enables somebody to come in and vote in support of this sort of spending towards that foreign government, that foreign project in the Middle East. So that's really it for this video, guys. Let me go through some of the comments here. Also, today's the anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination. So actually right after this, I'm going to hop off, make a new thumbnail here in a second, and then make a video just on John F. Kennedy's assassination. I want to talk a lot about that today. Let's see. It's okay. I say Israel most of the time too, but I'm from the South. Freddie Mercury. Anyways, we need a new Oh God, Trump was in bed with Israeli spies since forever. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad. Absolutely. Well, anyways, guys, I will see you guys here in the next video in like 5. I'm gonna start it at 7:20, so in 3.